A child is sobbing on the kitchen floor, not because they're hurt, not because something terrible happened, because their milk is in the wrong cup. And the parent standing over them, exhausted, frustrated, completely confused, cries everything they know. Reasoning, redirecting, firm boundaries. Nothing works. The crying doubles. And in that moment, most parents believe they've failed. But they haven't failed. They've just been handed the wrong map entirely. Here's the question nobody asks in that moment. What if the way most of us respond to tantrums is actually designed to make them worse? Not because we're bad parents, but because we were taught to treat meltdowns as a behavior problem. When science and one cultural tradition practiced quietly in Korean households for generations figured out something completely different long before modern research ever caught up. What did they understand that the rest of the world missed? That answer starts not in a parenting book. It starts inside your child's brain during the exact moment they fall apart. Hi, I'm Paul, and I help parents understand the hidden meanings behind children's behavior so they can raise happier, smarter kids. Imagine you're driving on a normal road. Suddenly, a car cuts you off at full speed. Your heart jumps, your hands grip the wheel, your body reacts before your mind even registers what happened. That's not weakness. That's your brain's alarm system doing exactly what it was built to do. Now imagine that same alarm system, but inside a 3-year-old. Except their version has no off switch yet. No brakes. No way to talk itself down. Because the part of the brain that handles reasoning and self-control, it won't be fully built for another 2 decades. So when your child loses control over a cup color, they aren't choosing chaos. Their brain's alarm has fired, and there is genuinely no rational thinking available to them in that moment. Logic bounces off. Explanations disappear into noise. They aren't ignoring you. They physically cannot reach the part of their brain that would hear you. And here's where most parents, through no fault of their own, make the situation worse. Because the instinct is to respond to what you can see. The screaming, the floor, the drama. But Korean family culture was never focused on the behavior you could see. It was focused entirely on the nervous system underneath it. This approach has a name in Korean culture. Jung. No English word fully captures it. It's somewhere between deep empathy, emotional presence, and an unspoken bond that says, I am here, and I am not leaving. Korean grandmothers have carried this instinct for centuries without ever needing a neuroscience paper to explain it. When a child falls apart, the response isn't correction. It isn't redirection. It isn't a firm voice restoring order. It's presence. Picture this scene. A grandmother sits beside her crying grandson. His toy is broken. His world, in this moment, has ended. She doesn't speak. She doesn't explain that the toy can be fixed. She simply sits beside him, places her hand on his back, and breathes, slowly, steadily, without urgency. And within moments, not minutes, moments, something shifts in the child's body. The rigid shoulders soften. The frantic crying changes tone. The storm doesn't get fought. It passes. What that grandmother understood, what Korean family culture embedded into daily life long before science had language for it, is something researchers now call co-regulation. A child's developing nervous system cannot calm itself alone. It needs to borrow calm from a regulated nervous system nearby. When you stay grounded, your child's brain detects that signal through your stillness, your breathing, the softness in your face, and it begins to sync with what it finds. But when you arrive tense, even with the best intentions, their brain reads that energy differently. It scans your jaw, your eyes, the clipped urgency in your voice, and it draws one conclusion. This person is also threatened. The danger is real. The alarm doesn't quiet. It gets louder. And this is the part that makes it so difficult. Because in that moment, your child screaming, the room tense, every second feeling longer than it should. Your own nervous system is activating too. You feel the urgency, the embarrassment in public, the pressure to fix this fast. So you do what feels like the responsible thing. You increase your authority. You use a firmer tone. You try to pull the situation back under control. And every time you do that, their brain confirms its worst fear. Big feelings are dangerous. Big feelings push people away. And so, children learn one of two things from this cycle. They learn to bury those feelings so deep that nobody ever sees them again. Or they learn to fight harder, louder, just to break through. Neither is what any parent wants to build. So what actually interrupts this cycle? Researchers studying childhood emotional development found something that seemed almost too simple. The fastest path through a meltdown isn't opposition. It's becoming the opposite of the storm. When you physically lower yourself to your child's level, when you slow your breathing, drop your shoulders, soften your expression, you send a message that bypasses language entirely. The brain's alarm system doesn't respond to words in those moments. It responds to felt safety. And felt safety is communicated through the body before a single word is ever spoken. This is what Jung looks like in practice. The parent doesn't arrive as an authority figure trying to restore order. They arrive as a safe harbor. And a child in the middle of a storm doesn't need a louder voice. They need somewhere steady to land. Here's what this actually looks like in real time. The moment a meltdown begins, you make one decision. You stop trying to stop it. You lower your body. You crouch to their level. You take one slow, visible breath, not for them, for yourself first. And you stay there. No words yet. Just your face, calm, open, present. Their nervous system is already watching yours, scanning it the way it always does. And for the first time in this meltdown, it finds something different, something steady. Then, without forcing it, you reach out, a hand on the shoulder, a gentle touch on the back, and something begins to shift in their body before you've said a single word. The tension changes quality. The crying changes tone. Now you speak, but not to explain, not to redirect, just to witness. You're really upset right now. You wanted it the other way. That felt all wrong. No judgment in your voice. No rush to move past the feeling. Just acknowledgement. And here is where the science becomes visible in real time. When a child feels genuinely seen, not managed, not corrected, but truly witnessed, the biological drive to escalate begins to dissolve on its own. Because the screaming was never about the cup. It was a signal. Can you handle this with me? Will you stay? And the moment they feel the answer is yes, the signal quiets. You finish by breathing together. Not a command, an invitation. Let's take a slow breath. When you're ready, we'll figure it out together. You're not sending them somewhere alone to calm down. You're staying beside them as the storm passes. And that difference, staying versus sending away, is everything. Done consistently, this doesn't just resolve the meltdown in front of you. It teaches their brain a new pattern at the level where patterns actually form. Here is what is really being built in those moments. Every time you meet your child's worst moment with steadiness instead of control, their brain records something. Big feelings are survivable. Falling apart doesn't mean being abandoned. I can be completely overwhelmed and still be safe. Parents who practice this consistently notice changes within days. Not that tantrums disappear, but that they shorten, that recovery happens faster, that instead of pushing you away after a meltdown, their child moves toward them. That shift from pushing away to moving toward is not just better behavior, it is the foundation of emotional security that will follow this child into every relationship, every difficulty, every moment of pressure for the rest of their life. You are not just surviving the kitchen floor moment. You are building a person who knows in their bones that their emotions are not shameful, that they are not alone inside them, and that the people who love them will not disappear when things get hard. That is not a parenting technique. That is the whole game. The cup is still the wrong color. The sandwich is still cut wrong. None of that changes, but you change. And when you change, consistently, patiently, even imperfectly, their brain changes with you. If this gave you something worth carrying, there's another video ready for you right now. It's about why children who develop this kind of emotional security in their early years become the adults who handle pressure, failure, and uncertainty in ways most people never learn how to. It connects directly to everything we just talked about. Go watch it.